o'clock.
Yeah, I've pushed go live. It's false. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Wednesday, it's 6 p.m. UK time, and it's time for Evening Brews. Oops, I pushed the wrong bloody thing. Very good. Let's do that again. It's Evening Brews time. Okie dokie, guys in the chat and everyone that will be watching this after. It's been a busy day for Tottenham Hotspur. It's loads of stuff is heating up. We're going to dissect it. And obviously, I've got my man, James Flower, with me. How are you, my brother?
Yeah, I'm really well. I'm looking forward to this.
There's actually some stuff to talk about, which is incredible at long last. So let's first of all do what we always do and welcome everyone that has joined us. So Jazz Fusion, yes, you are right. The Korean player is coming in January. We are going to be talking about him. He is the second story in today's Evening Brews. So we will be talking about it. Hello to Edis. I hope you're good, buddy. Jazz Fusion is saying thank you. We have Stephen over from Australia. Is that Australia or New Zealand? It's one of the two. I can never tell when it's that small, but welcome to the show, buddy. Tweaky is in the building. Good evening to you, Tweaky channel member. Colin Crossamano is reporting live from a wet Rhondda Valley. I hope you're good. Dragon D's Nuts are here. Another channel member in Andrew Gregory. Jazz Fusion is, I've done him 3 times. He's got the hat-trick ball. Tom81, my roomie, is here. Good evening to Matty. Good evening, Rob78. Liam is in the house. Big up, Sean. David Marshall, good evening to you, sir. John George, how are you, sir? And Anthony Clark. Just to say to John George, because obviously I saw it in Tottenham away yesterday. People were asking how comes I went on Cowlin and didn't shout massive Levy outs here, there, and everywhere. And reason I did it is obviously, I'm delivering the same message, but obviously in a different way. Like Stefan said, if I had gone on there and started effing and blinding or whatever, all the people that give us the bad reputation would have enhanced it. And I'm sick and tired of preaching to the converted. I'm sick and tired of going on predominantly Levy out channels, and this being one of them, saying that we're going to do a load of stuff. People say on social media they're going to come and join us, and then they don't. And if I can't get the converted to come, there's got to be another way to try and speak out about the board. So that's why I'm going down this road right now, because for my health as well, I just cannot be asked. I cannot be asked to go through what I went through last summer. But John, I hope you are good, brother. You're a great supporter of the channel and love chatting with you. So I hope you're good. Kev G has joined. Big up to you as well. So, right. So let's get into this. First of all, the headline, obviously we're coming on to the Korean player that Spurs have signed or about to sign. Big news broke today. You could say it's big news or not big news, because a lot of people are expecting this when it came to his 17th birthday. Tottenham are close to agreeing a new contract for Mikey Moore. Now, the source, I will say, is one of those that people say are very or more unreliable and wrong than they are right. But I do think this is happening. I think with the new deal, I think every time he's played in the pre-season, they're like, oh, we're going to have to up his money or up everything. I think his birthday is August the 11th from what I remember. August the 11th, I am fully hoping what we saw yesterday for Ben Davies' 10 years, what we saw for Vicario and Udogie's number change, I am hoping and praying that on his birthday, we all get the big present and Mikey Moore will sign a contract. Now, whether people think he's ready now or he needs to develop a bit more, James, this is huge news, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, massive. I'm one of these fans, personally, that likes to judge for myself. So I've seen him play a little bit for the youth, but not loads. But the fact that he's played in the first team twice and come on and made a difference twice, if he does, say, for example, get loaned out or doesn't play after signing a contract, I will ask why. Because he's been fantastic. Since he's stepped on that pitch, he's been fantastic. So get that guy tied down for as long as possible.
I mean, but put it this way, I've been joking about with people today, and I was saying, literally, if I was the club, I would give him a lifetime contract, and obviously offer pre-contracts to his unborn children and grandchildren, and hope he's going to be huge for the football club. Huge. You can see what he's doing now, and you know what? There's on videos I've done, whether it be We Are Tottenham TV or tweets I put out, it's amazing how many fans from non-Spurs fans have come in and actually said, you know what, the hype is real with this guy. I've seen him for England. The goal he scored for England in the Euros reminded me of Michael Owen against Argentina. The kid got everything. And as soon as this contract, because you can just imagine how many clubs are still sniffing around him.
Well, there's been links. There's been links with the best, isn't it? The PSGs, the Man Cities. They're all sniffing around to see what's available.
Yeah.
For me, they've just got to play him. They've just got to start giving him some time, weeding him in a little bit by little bit. I mean, that assist that he got against QPR, I haven't seen. And I know you like Brennan Johnson, and I don't think he's a bad player, but I haven't seen that amount of technique from Johnson, Werner, Solomon, Kulu. I haven't seen him play that sort of outside of the ball, but outside of the boot ball across the line. So like it was ridiculous. So for someone at that age doing something like that, it's reward. I always believe in reward success. If people are working hard, reward them. The guy, from what I've seen, deserves a reward. So give him the contract.
Yeah, first of all, I have to say, Mr. Box Office was incredible yesterday. What really, Joe? What when I told Alex when the stream came on, let's keep it on point. He was fantastic yesterday. I really, really enjoyed that stream, and big up to him. Before we go on, this question's coming from Cross Romano. Have you heard anything about this?
So I know a few people within the club. And I think they just said the things that I've heard is just like he's still 16. He's 16 until he walks on the pitch. So he's still very young-minded. He's 16. He's still a child, isn't he? So he's still young. But the moment he steps onto the pitch, he's not. So I think he'll get there. Like, I think he'll get there.
Same here. And Paddy, we're talking about this later on. You're or around this kind of topic. You're spot on. Right. So that is Mikey. Is everyone else happy with Mikey Moore? I'm just trying to see if there's any comments that people want to speak about Mikey Moore. But whilst we're doing that, we are going to go on to the next story because manna from heaven kind of fell for me today because we started doing a video. It was just a pre-recorded video today, a short one that's out now about the Far East market. And are we surprised that Spurs haven't attacked that market and used that market because of Ange and Scott Munn? Because I personally think when we appointed Ange, one of the unique USBs was his knowledge of that market and hopefully to identify talents. And literally, as we were recording this, news broke. I said, why haven't we attacked it? And we're going to attack it because Tottenham are closing in on to sign 2006 born winger. I'm going to try Min-Hyuk Yang. I'm sorry if I have butchered that. If there are any Koreans here, I apologise. From Gangwon FC, agreement being completed and then medical tests to follow, which has been followed up by Romano. Tottenham scouts believe South Korea forward, I'm not going to try and say his name because I will butcher it, has important potential, huge talent for the future. He's going to sign for Spurs now, medical to be booked soon, then staying at his club till January. Documents being prepared in the next couple of days. Now, I'm going to speak a bit about this, James, and then you're going to... So,
yeah, cool.
As I said when we're doing this video, I looked at this when we signed him, that we could attack this market and have an advantage because of his extensive knowledge of it. If you look at all the managers that we have in the Premier League now, he's streets ahead in knowledge and where they are and what to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
Always compare it to this. Now, don't bite my head off, people in the chat or you when I mention this. The likeness I give it to is Arsene Wenger when he came to England. When Arsene Wenger came to England, and it was Arsene who, he had an unrivaled, unmatched knowledge of the French players. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying France and South Korea, the standards are the same. That's not what I'm saying. But no one knew Patrick Vieira. No one knew Emmanuel Petit. Maybe Nick Zamelka, from what I remember, people were talking about him. Sylvain Walter, and I could go on. Arsenal trusted him and brought in these unknown players. You could add Thierry Henry because he was obviously not doing well at Juventus. Obviously, he didn't. He discovered him at Monaco, so he knew him. So we have this man that's come in. Don't get me wrong. This guy does not come into the first team now. This guy does not come in to the first team anytime soon. This isn't, and I hope to God Spurs do not use it as a, okay, look, we've signed players, we're doing this, because that's not the case. Real quality needs to come into this football club right here, right now, kind of like what Paddy was saying about Mikey Moore. But I don't see, it's kind of, we've got an advantage to exploit. Why don't you exploit it? And don't get me wrong, I've seen so many people saying this is Daniel Levy wanting to make sure the career market stays when Son goes. Do I believe that? Part of me does, yeah. Because that's, and I'm only saying that because of what I fight for, what I believe and have seen over the years. Do I think this is 100% Ange? No, I don't. But when we have a manager that can exploit that market, we've done it. Is it such a bad thing?
No. How can it be a bad? How can it be a bad thing? That's what I say. How can it be a bad thing? But for me, improving your future squad is only a good thing, and it really is. The thing that they do need to act on, and it does put a shade over it for me, is the fact that we haven't improved our first team.
Yeah,
I mean, he looks like a talent from what we see. You know, again, it's one of those. It could be a big fish, little pond. It could be loads of potential, but when he gets to the Prem, it's too physical. I don't know, but if you're improving the youth and buying all the quality youngsters, let's be real, Chelsea have been doing that for absolutely ages, and now every single player they get, even if they're youth players, they sell them for 20-30 million. So even if we buy the whole market up and sell them all, I'm not complaining about that. But for me, the youth is here to supplement the first team, and I can't lie, I am like a bit annoyed that we haven't in strength in the first team.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's not coming till January, and we all know this is. And I even used it. I fell into the trap whilst trying to explain to someone on Twitter. I was like, "This is one for the future." And as I was writing that, I was like, "Oh, here we go. We need right here, right now." There's no doubt. I do not deny it. If the window shut tomorrow, I will be going apoplectic. I will be going nuclear. I will be going crazy. But surely when you've got a guy that can take advantage of this market, you have to do it. I will say as well, when we said it on the stream earlier, no one knew who Matoma was until he came here. I didn't know who that. I keep saying his name wrong. The striker at Wolves. Was it Lee?
Yeah, I know who you mean.
I'm not going to try and butcher his name. If you can put it in the chat. But this is the thing.
The Koff's favourite player.
Yeah, exactly. That's just saying. The Koff's favourite player. These players have come in. And what I will say, compared to France and South America and Europe, well, obviously there's a massive pool of players. And it's about identifying them, trying to get them quickly. Korea, Japan, China, that region, obviously the pool is a lot smaller. So you have to make sure when you're doing this, you get the right ones. And we all say identifying talent.
Yeah.
And I will say, Ange Postecoglou, if I had to say there's a manager in forget who has signed. Obviously, if it had been the defender from Bayern Munich now that we've been linked with, everyone will be, oh my God, incredible. But it's about identifying the right person from that region. And if someone had to say to me right now, we need a manager to find the right player in that market, for sure, Ange Postecoglou has to be the one you'd go for, wouldn't you, James?
Yeah, he's got experience there. he's managed in that league. So even if he isn't in contact with the players directly, he still probably knows people in and around that league. They still probably give him the odd like call, like this guy, have a look at this guy. This guy's good. You know, everyone talks in football. Completely, everybody talks. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I will say I'm struggling to keep up with the comments because you guys are speaking so quickly, and I'm loving it. So sorry if I cannot keep up. I am doing all I can, but like I said, I don't see the problem with it signing. Don't get me wrong. Again, I'm going to say it. We need to sign first team, and we need to sign first team quick. And they need to not just first team add to numbers. It needs to be the genuine quality. And speaking of that, we heard them through Paul O'Keefe. We were accelerating 3 deals. Well, this came out after the Korean news broke, and it's Tottenham had 3 potential incomings ready to go, and are waiting on them to be finalised, fully agreed. They aren't the ones delaying. The guy we decided is one for the future. Spurs are on it and adding players for the first 11. Now, obviously, Paul O'Keefe used the terminology, or provided the terminology from wherever he was listening or had the info from. Do you think this week's a big week, James? Do you think this is players are literally on the verge of incoming?
Well, again, obviously, me and you spoke a little while ago about. I knew somebody in the club. They told me that Archie Gray was coming before Brentford. He was going linked to being to Brentford. They also said a couple of other players. So yeah, it's you know what? Like if I run a football club or a business or anything, the first thing I would want to do is get my customers on my side, because then that grows your business and like it just take off. Everyone would be happy. I mean, not that we need to sell more shirts, but you would sell more shirts. The whole club as a whole would have a great vibe around it if they just did the right things first. So, for example, if they were going to sign, let's say, Eze, Tony, and Chiesa, just say it's those 3. Why not do them at the beginning? Like, get it all done and wrapped up, and then no one would be care. Like this young lad from Korea. I'm sorry, but I am a bit like, another one. Like I am, and maybe that's something wrong with me, but like I think all the young kids is a great idea. One of the first times I spoke to you, the first words was, you asked us to act like Brighton. We're acting like Brighton. Like now you don't want to act like Brighton, and I'm one of those who want to act like Brighton. I think when you have your first 11, you should go and sign a couple of young kids to learn off of that first 11. So in that respect, I just think Levy's missing the trick here. Even if he put one big name player in and then loads of kids and then a big name player, I think it kind of puts us on the right vibe. And even if you are glass half full, you're still thinking, I'm worried now. Is this going to be another pre-season like last pre-season when no one goes, no one gets the time? We start the season and then it's a whole catch-up.
Yeah, I mean, put it this way: the way I've seen it and looked at it, and I said this: if we had signed Eze, and let's just say another midfielder, or Eze and Tony, let's just say, if Eze and Tony had signed just now, and then we announced this Korean player afterwards, people wouldn't be like it is now. If we had signed Eze and Tony before Archie Gray, I don't think Archie Gray would have got I am so happy we signed Archie Gray. I am delighted with that signing. But you're right, it's coming down to the timings, isn't it? You want to see on the first pre-season tour, you wanted the players there to start off with. But then you look at it, now we're getting closer and closer. You want those first team players with that team as quickly as possible.
100%. For me, I watched a little bit of Will Lancashire as well, and I thought he was good. He looks like an adult in a kid's body, or not a kid's body, an adult in a kid's age category. But for me, say for example, Daniel Levy says, or Ange says, right, he's in my first team. I would be a little bit worried because one, who's going to keep him out of the team, and B, who's he going to learn the tricks of the trade of, that natural instinct, or who's going to guide him to be a top striker? Whether you think Richarlison is a top striker or isn't, the guy's never fit. Like, he's never fit. So we need to bring people in so they can go, I want to be that number one. Like, I want to fight for that. Learn everything that he's got to offer and improve his game. And I just think what signing all the young players is a fantastic thing to do. It really is, even from just a business point of view. But the main thing that everybody's wanting is our football club back. We want to see us win. We want to see us play well. We want to see us have successful nights. You know, you have to improve your first team to get that.
Yeah, I mean, this is what is the other problem as well, obviously, with the youngsters, that not a large percentage of them will make it into the, maybe not even the Prem, but let's talk Tottenham. It's a big thing. But if we were to say the three players, let's have a game, people. Let's have a game. Who do you think, not who do you want, who do you think the three are? You go first, James, and we'll see what the chat says.
So, Eze.
Please, God. Please, God.
Eze, I know that the club, they like him. I know that for a fact. I think it will be the lad from France, the Canadian guy, Davis. Yeah. And then I think we will go for like a defender that could play across the back line.
Okay, we'll see what the chat say. Let's see what they come with. I want to say Eze, but I think the ship has sailed. I think the ship has sailed. As much as I don't want it to be, and I really want to be proven wrong. I think Ivan Toney's coming. I think people are coming in. Yeah, I'm praying. I am praying that the last name on this name list doesn't come. But
that's a great comment though, because from David there, right? So yeah. Say for example that comes through, whether you like Conor Gallagher or not, yeah, you cannot say to me that is strengthening our team endfold. For me, Conor Gallagher's better than Sarr at the moment. So he upgrades him there. Eze upgrades Kulu or Son, in my opinion. I think he's better than both. And Tony is night and day above Richarlison. So you're talking of three massive players coming into the first squad with your likes of Will Lancashire, your Archie Grays, is it Bergval, or what's his name? Yeah, Bergval. You've got players ready to step in, your Donnellys. I'm really happy with that now. That's taken everything crap away from my opinion. It's like, okay, let's do this.
Mate, this would be a great buy, but I don't know if he'd play first team football. I'm going to say, because Jazz Fusion, Neto, I think, is coming. The thing is, if and again, it's all ifs, buts, maybes. If Neto could, if I said to you, James, we could get Neto, and I guarantee you he's fit for 75-80% of the season, you're taking it, aren't you? As much as he's 100.
He's a minimum of a £60 million player then. But for me, I know this is going to be controversial and I'll probably get killed for this. I don't think Neto's worth £10 million because he's never fit. I wouldn't buy him for £10 million because we've got Lo Celso, we had Sessegnon. We need to sort of realise, it's especially for big money, in my opinion, it's not worth that risk. Say if we bring in Neto to play on the wide, and then he gets injured first game, then what? We're back to square one. It's too much of a risk for me, even though I think he's an unbelievable player.
So I've got two on my list. I've got Neto, Tony. As much as I want Eze,
I know who your third one is.
Go on.
Raya.
No, shut up with the David Raya. Let it go. I can't think of the third. I actually think, someone's mentioned it. I think the third one, maybe, who mentioned it, will be the guy. There it is. Just I can't. Dorgu. Another left back, because I think we do need cover for Destiny. Because the last thing I want to see is Van der Ven forced out wide, as well as he did. For me, it's imperative that he stays in the centre. I just want to say thank you to the 182 of you in here. Please, if you do get an opportunity, Smash the like and subscribe if you can. The channel is growing. There is a lot more content coming out. I have to say, anyone that's been putting questions in, I have completely forgot to be starring them. So just put a Q or at TOT now, and I will keep an eye on it. But yeah, so we'll go on to the next bit of news. Now it's time for the outgoings. It is time for the outgoings. So Galatasaray, here we go. A story, here we go. The Emerson Royale saga is back up and running and open for business.
Hell yeah.
Galatasaray, the things we love to see, isn't it? This is bloody hell. Galatasaray have made an official bid to sign Emerson Royale. AC Milan have consequently made a third bid for the right back, which reaches the €20 million asking price. AC Milan are now close to an overall agreement with Tottenham to sign Emerson Royale, who will sign a 5-year deal. But, and there's always a but when it comes to this transfer, the value and what's real and what's not. Because the very next one from Gazzetta Italia is AC Milan's 10 million offer for Emerson Royale remains on the table. And it's just a case of waiting for Tottenham to accept it. Now, AC Milan, I'm going to give you a little piece of advice for free. Remember who you're dealing with. You could leave that €10 million deal on the table for as long as you like. It's not getting accepted by Daniel Levy. It's simply not. Would I take it right now? Yes. Would I actually said before the Hearts game I wouldn't, but now I would. Now I would, because we just need to get him out and obviously bring the people through and get players in. I don't know how true it is with the other team that's going to be coming in, but this is a story that won't go away. I don't think it's getting done at 10 million. What do you think, James?
And nor should it. €10 million is about £8 million. That's an absolute joke. I'd rather release him for free than admit defeat like that. That's disgusting. And I know I'm one of those, get people out at all costs. But if he's not part of the plans, we haven't got to get him out right now. We can long it out until we get the money that we want. The longer it goes on, the more people are interested, especially if it comes in at €10 million. I think the more people will be looking at it. So he's a goner for me, but he's worth more than €10 million. Let's be honest.
Well, first of all, Peter, I haven't seen you for a while, Peter. I hope you're good, brother. Don't get it wrong. I am completely with you on this. The ready-made players need to come in, and they need to come in. I'd like it as soon as tomorrow, or preferably yesterday. But there needs to be, before they come back on tour, a couple of players minimum in the bag that walk into that first team. And I do mean walk into that first team in the positions I want. With Emerson, so let's just say, there's another one that I couldn't find the actual tweet for to bring it up, that said the difference between Milan and Spurs is getting closer. So obviously there's a bit of wiggle room. Now, where do you think we're going to end up with this? I can see it dropping down to 15 or even 12 and a half. I can't see Milan going up beyond 15, and I think Spurs will know it.
I think that's fair though. 15, I think it's fair. The other thing we've got to think about is AC Milan are perfectly doing the right thing, because Emerson Royale has been twerking all summer for AC Milan, saying how all the good Brazilian players played there and blah 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 blah. So they already know one half of the deal's done. All they've got to say is okay, and he's running there. So in that respect, they are in their right mind to try and push it, because if Emerson Royale has made up his mind he's leaving, then why pay 15 million if you can get for 10?
Yep, and John, there's a lot of people now talking about this Luton player. There's a lot of people. I saw the links with him months ago. We'll have to see. But there's another bit of outgoing news, and this one does. I mean, sorry, James, you have something else you want to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Obviously, I can't see who put the name in the chat, but a question for you and the chat, really. Yep. What do you think of Ramsey?
So, I think we can get better. I think we can do better. Also, you're talking about Neto with injuries. Ramsey hasn't had them as often, but has been out. If he hits full form, I think he could do something. But I'm getting sick and tired because the next one we're about to talk about is a certain Brian Hill. We got rid of. I still to this day cannot believe we paid 23 million and Lamella to get Brian Hill to get him off the. So I like Lo Celso. I think he's a good player, but I know we can't trust him. Fitness wise, we just cannot. But I don't see how Gio Lo Celso and 19 million, to me, it's got another Brian Hill deal all wrapped up. I see all the benefits for Villa, and the only benefit for Tottenham is Lo Celso is off the wage bill, and then there's a player that obviously they can't depend on, but then you're bringing in a player that we can't depend on. So for me, I if it happens, it happens. I won't be best pleased with it. What are you thinking?
I actually think he's a very good player.
Okay.
I watched him a few years. I think it was with was it England under 21s he played and they won it? Was he in that squad when they won it? But he was fantastic, and I've seen glimpses of him. But I do wonder if he's just going to be like a 6 or a 7, like a Ben Davis, a 6 or 7 out of 10 every game, which is good. But I think we're at that point where we need that that 9 out of 10 one game, 7 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 7 out of 10. I don't think we can rely on that sort of steady eddies again. If we was to bring in someone like Eze and then him, I'd be happy with that. But if we was to bring him in and not somebody else, then I wouldn't be happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with this. The only one I can say rivals it is Galini, but let's face it, he was never going to get game time. He was covered. That was a mess. But now we get on to Brian Hill, who's been linked all over the shop. Sevilla have made an approach to bring Brian Hill back to the club, which is a loan with an option to buy. I don't, no more options. It's an obligation, or you take him outright, which could become an obligation if certain conditions are met. And this is the bit that makes me laugh. The Spanish side are not willing to accept a buy option of more than 6 million euros. So just rewind this. They sold him to us for 23 million and Lamella. We have then loaned him back so he can partner Lamella. We have then brought him back, and now they're not willing to pay 6 million euros. 6 to get. If there was a definition of Tottenham have had their pants pulled down, this signing is the one. And I do not understand. See, the problem I have with Spurs, and I'll say it here and now, I'm very, very happy we have got these players out that have come out. Very, very happy they've gone out. We've cleared them off the wage bill. We finally got them off the books. But the actual value we have actually made from selling these players has been quite simply shambolic. Shambolic because we've let their contracts run down, or that rather than selling them when we could or getting rid after 2 years, you look at teams like Manchester United back in the day who would sell a Yapstam and Nistelrooy, a Beckham, or whoever at the top of their game, or if they got too big for their boots, out you go. Yeah. You look at Manchester City, now we all go their money bags, but the season that they bought in Haaland, they wanted to raise some capital to put towards it because obviously they're in trouble, whatever. They sold Jesus and Zinchenko to a direct rival because they knew they could get a decent fee for them to clear the books for this one. Our outgoings, as well as getting them off the books and Ndombele's contract ripped up, the value we have got from them has been shambolic. The hits we've had to take have been ridiculous. Yeah. And when you've got the ex-team saying, I won't buy him for 6 million euros, it's we've really had our pants pulled down with this one, haven't we?
Yeah. But also, I think they're taking the absolute piss, to be honest. I think they really are taking the mick. Not even by option, not by obligation, or by option for 6 million. I would have, if I was leaving, I would have just said, "Look, mate, leave my office. Don't ever call me again. It's a waste of time." That's shambolic, to be honest.
Well, it is. Well, you look at it, and like I said, you look at these outgoings, and you look at one point we could have got. Remember when Manchester United was sniffing around for big money for Dyer? Didn't do it. Look what happens. Dyer goes for free. We've had it so many times. And like I said, commend the club for getting them off the books, but you can't operate like this, can you?
I got absolutely pelters in January because I said I would sell Royale for 25 million. Well, now look how that looks. I said that if Saudi are bidding 50 million for Richarlison, that would be another one gone. That's 75 million. And I also said if they're going to prepare to come in and pay 100 million for Son, I'd sell Son as well, because no big club other than Tottenham allow their best players to hit their peak, go past their peak, and then keep them and keep them and keep them and keep them. Like what you said with Man City, they get to their peak, they get a good few years out of them, and then off they go. In comes a new one. What Tottenham do, they keep them, they hit their peak, they keep them, they keep them, they keep them, they keep them, they go, well, we still want his peak value. Everyone goes, no thanks, and then they go on a free. So you have to at some point say, this is where we make the most profit. You have to go. This is what's best for the club. No personalities, nothing involved. You've got to go. And Saudi did come in and bid 25 million, or they were linked with 25 million for Royale, and there were people going, "Oh no, I'd keep him. He's a good backup." Crap. And they said the same thing about Richarlison. Now, if they offered them both now, you'd be mad to not take them.
Yeah, I've got to say I completely agree. I hope Brian Hill's gone, because it's been an experiment that hasn't worked. He came under Nuno, didn't he? So he's bought under Nuno, from what I remember. Obviously, then Nuno left. Conte tried to play him when he had to. I was at with Ben from We Are Tottenham TV, the 4-0 Crystal Palace, 4-0 away, and
he was fantastic.
That game, he was magnificent. But that's been one game, and he's been tried with Ange Postecoglou's system. It just doesn't work. When we send him out on loan, like someone just said about, we sent Seville, we sent Valise out on loan. What a waste of a loan that was with that club. I don't understand why Tottenham Hotspur sent Hill back to Spain for every single loan. How are you going to get to know the English football or get first team minutes to get up to the speed of English football when we keep sending you back to your comfort zone?
But something like that, again, this is what frustrates me, is the fact that they don't get no opportunity in England and they're then expected to survive in England. Like, say, for example, Leicester coming up, or last season, Luton coming up. You're telling me they wouldn't have took a Villiers on loan? Even if we said, look, we think this is best for him that he comes on loan to you, we'll pay for half his wages, or vice versa, you know. Because something like that would help him massively. It would help his value go up massively. Yep. So I just don't get it. Sometimes it's like we buy these players, hoard them, and think that they're going to go up in value. That's not how it works.
Exactly. And these managers, whether you want to say it's the manager or the owners, when the managers have said, because I'm sure when people were talking about David Beckham or Ruud van Nistelrooy or whatever going, I'm sure the Man U hierarchy were probably like, are you sure you want to do this? But then if Ferguson said yes, it was yes. You look at it with Arteta, and I hate coming back to that lot, when he said get Aubameyang and Ozil out, they did it at a great expense. Sometimes you have to get these players out at the top. And obviously, one like Brian Hill, I think you just need to get him out now. But we're now going to talk. I've been waiting to talk about this one. I left it till the end before we do questions. Like I said, I have been starting some questions. We're up to 8 at the moment now. The funniest one, and I just find this hysterical, the way this has been worded, I have never seen such a Spursy tweet in my entire life. Tottenham Hotspur have a huge budget set aside for big money transfers in the remainder of the summer window. Emerson Eze remains a key target. So remember, we have a huge budget, huge, for people like Emerson Eze who remains a target. Yet we are in daily contact with the £25 million Jonathan David. So we have this big money for, as we say, to make big money transfers. And that is the actual word. It's not even me put big money transfers. Yeah, the one we're speaking to daily is the 25 million cheaper one. I don't even know what to make of this. What about you, James?
It's for me, it's one of those things where if I was Jonathan David and this continued and it was such a like a, oh yeah, how you doing? Yeah, how you doing today? Yeah, don't answer back. I get it with my customers. If my customers message me and I message them back, then they don't say nothing for 2 days, and then they message me and then they don't say nothing for 2 days. I'm like, look, go away. That's it. I'm done with you. Get out of here. So the fact that they're pulling them along, if they are pulling them along, it needs to just say, listen, you sign me or I'm out. Forget it.
Yeah.
It's one of those for me. Yeah, this huge money budget for Eze. Again, I know a few players that have played, and everyone said of the excuse of he's on England and blah blah blah. Tottenham wouldn't have contacted Eze. Tottenham would have contacted his agent and said, "Look, is he interested in coming to our club?" He would then have pinged a message over because they're like friends. Said, "Would you ever be interested in Tottenham?" And he would have messaged back saying, "Yeah, yeah, no worries. We'll sort it out when I get back." And then from then, Tottenham will go, right, okay, we've been given the green light. Here's the bid. Are you happy with this wages? And then you pull the trigger after the tournament's done. Even if he's still on holiday now, you still pull the trigger, get him signed up, and then he comes back off his holiday and joins. I just don't understand it. I really don't get it. It's, I mean, if I was David, I'd be seriously annoyed. And even Eze, if I'm your top target and it's taking you this long to get you in, again,
this is the thing, James. I've had arguments with people on social media, and when I've gone on about it, I know. Listen, mate, people have to understand. I'm very misunderstood. That's what it is. I'm not outspoken. I'm just very misunderstood. I'm a charming man that only wants happiness around the world. Yeah, all right. So I've been talking to people, and they're like, deals don't get done by the players. They should. And I find it so weird because I'm old school. When you hear personal terms are agreed before the clubs start talking. To me, it was the clubs give you permission to speak, then you do it. It's changed. So when I've gone in and saying, why aren't we making bid? Why aren't we doing it? People say, well, no, they speak to their agent first and get the deal done.
Yeah,
and then we do that. But then now, during the Euros, it's you can't talk to the player because he's at the Euros. I was like, well, wait a minute. You've just told me a week ago the agents get everything done first, and then this stuff. The way it can get chopped and changed and used in different ways, because people. I got into a debate with someone yesterday about why we haven't signed any first teamers, and they were like, literally, someone said to me, none of the other the one that fingers down a chalkboard, none of the other big six have done it. So I said, all right, fine. I didn't know we were playing. We have to match them in strengthening. And I was like, the other teams have got our rivals are further ahead of us. So we got more catch up to do. Get it? And he was like, well, yeah, well, no one signed because of the Euros. And I was like, well, how comes the Spanish international captain, Morata, got a here we go to Milan within 24 hours of winning the tournament? Manchester United signed Zerkey within a day of him, Holland being Olympic. It happened. And then they said, he turns around to me and says, well, who wants a 31-year-old anyway? And I'm like, well, wait a minute. A minute ago, you were talking about signing players and they're at the Euros, but now you bring an age into it. And no, you can't have it both ways. And the way this is going, I'm with you. Eze has been my number one point since this time last year. I would be furious. Now, I know for a fact that Spurs are wanting him or do want him, but they are not prepared to pay the fee agreed in the contract. Like they have tried to get it lowered, and Palace are saying no. Like we said, Daniel Levy has his ways with Harry Kane. He was like, you can have him at this amount. I want this amount up front. This kind of happens. But if we have this big money, we need to start spending it. It's a case of now. But it does make me laugh the way it says that we have money for big transfers, yet we're talking regular contact with the cheaper one. Now, obviously, again, I will say when it comes to Lange, who I'm still I don't know where I am with him. He has got players out the door, like Højbjerg, very, very hush-hush. And today, this announcement has been done off the radar. Obviously, it's not a big-name player, but if we see a big-name player come in, obviously it's under the radar. But again, this is just... Paul O'Keefe said we're accelerating. I don't know if that was his words or where he heard it. And I speak to Paul via DMs. He's actually a really nice guy to talk to. And he does spend a lot of time talking to the fans, whether people agree with him or not. But the fact that Jonathan, where are you with Jonathan David? And where is everyone in the chat with Jonathan David? Just yes or no. Jonathan David to Spurs. Would you be happy? Yes or no? Off you go, James.
I haven't seen him enough. He looks okay. His goal scoring record's good, but it's hard to say, isn't it? I think for that money, he should be the kind of player that you're bringing in second. You should be going and getting your target and then bringing him in second. 25 million's worth of punt.
Okay, so we're getting a few no's, but the one I want to see if he's still here, and he's just put a message in, is Scott M. Scott M, I want you to respond to what I'm about to say and wrap up what you think, sir. When it comes to Jonathan David, obviously myself and Scott M get to see him, and Scott M is the only one I know that's officially from Canada here whilst I'm talking. If I've missed any Canadians in the chat, I apologise. Jonathan David is someone I get to see a hell of a lot because of where I live and because obviously I try to keep up with Canadian. Big up, Leslie. I haven't seen you for a while. Hope you and the family are well. Always good to see you, Leslie. So I get to see him at close quarters. Obviously, Scott has seen him a lot closer for Canada for a lot longer. The quality he has playing around with him at Canada is nowhere near the standard of the Premier League, is nowhere near the standard of the French League. He has attributes and the versatility to play for Spurs. I think if you put him in Spurs, he will do well. At 25 million, I think it's a punt worth taking. And the what I will say is where I stand with this with Jonathan David is, do I think there's much, much better there? Of course. But what I will say is if he goes to another Premier League team and Premier League teams are sniffing around and seem to be competitive, I will guarantee that by Christmas time, people are saying, oh, crap, we've missed one. What have we done? We could have had him. And let's see what Scott said. I will always say for David, he is good as the first option off the bench. If we got Eze, Tony and David plus a 6, I would take it because we could have Son, Tony, Eze with David backing all 3 up. Spot on. Spot on. Just because we signed him for 25 million doesn't mean he instantly makes it. We've got to remember, we got Europe. We got the domestic cups. I honestly think Jonathan David...
We go out in the first round anyway.
Oh, mate, if we do, I'm not going to be happy. But I would, wait a minute. If Richie stays, then we need David 2 in our squad. If Richie stays, then Tony. Okay, that's a way of looking at it. And, Leslie, thank you for the comment. Thank you very much indeed. I really appreciate that. But yeah, based on what I just said, James, I can't remember if you said, where are you with David?
Like I said, I would bring him in if he was going to be sort of second choice and make him fight for the first place. For me, like Richarlison has to go, and then replace Richarlison with David. I think that's good. We'd probably make some money back as well from that, and then you go out and buy a Tony.
Yeah, I would say I would put money on that if Richarlison goes. So let's say that's 160 million that we've pocketed from our 2. Oh, let's just say 50. Let's say 50 because we've got to remember with Richie, it is 60 million depending on appearances and bonuses and whatever. The initial fee is 50 mil. So let's just stick on 50. Kane was a bit more than 100 if I remember, but let's just use 100 for this. So 150 million comes in. I can very, very easily see, especially with 50 million for Richie, that Spurs will go get David and Tony. Because I think Tony isn't my one. The one I want is Gyökeres. I've said it the whole time. And I got really annoyed because I saw that Arsenal are apparently about to start negotiations. And if he ends up in the filth, oh God, I'm not going to be happy. But I can see Spurs with the £50 million we'd get from Richie going, right, 35 Tony. I think with Brentford and Tony, I think Spurs are just waiting for the number to drop to the number that they want, and then we're all over it. Then we are absolutely all over it, wrapped up very, very quickly. And then I think they'll go get Jonathan David. So with that £150 million that has gone on 2 strikers, I think rather than, and obviously the one people always use and I use is Coutinho, and look what Liverpool did. I see us having 150 million, but spending 60 million of it on getting 2 strikers.
That sounds like the sort of thing that we would do. Yeah. I know you wanted Gyökeres or whatever his name is, but I want Openda. I think Openda fits Ange's system so well. Fast, good in the box, loves to get in the 6-yard box. I think that's the perfect signing for Ange. But what Colin said, if you bring up Colin's comment,
which one? The one 550, 650 your time.
It doesn't say it for me. Sorry, mate.
Which one? This one?
Yeah. I think that would be a blessing in disguise.
I mean, I don't know, James, how you, with the friendlies, all I care about is Ange getting or whoever the manager is, and right now it's Ange Postecoglou, is getting an idea of how his first team is shaping up. And come Leicester, his first team have had the minutes, the time together, whatever. Results, obviously, if we get a defeat in Japan, I'll be like, oh my God, I think it certainly does spark them into life. But what do you see as pre-season? Do you see it as the results matter? Do you see it as it's time for us to get the teams right?
I look at it as fitness, really, getting ready for it. So for me, things like, like how he's been playing skip and stuff at the back, that's wrong for me. I would play your strongest team to start the game every week. So if RG Gray is going to be in the team, start him. So they've got 45 minutes playing with each other, and then the next 45 minutes is kids coming in fighting for their spot. That's how I would do it. But it has been confusing because it's just been completely 2 different teams, and even like a third team, because the second team are only getting sort of 20 minutes, 22 minutes.
Yep, you're right. Okay, so let's start going through the questions. If you have any more questions, start getting them in. I'll keep checking on them, but James, we'll get you to answer them first, then I'll have a go. So we've done that one where, okay, let's have a look. What's this one? From We Talk Football. Brian, don't you find it strange how quick these younger player deals get tied up? Pity about our marquee signings couldn't be this quick. James, you go first, then I'll respond.
Yeah, exactly that. That's what I just said to you about Eze, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like they don't have to be with a squad now on tour to be wrapped up or even say, look, deal done, waiting on medical when he's back off holiday.
Give me 1 second. I've just got to shut the window next to me. It is absolutely pissing it down all of a sudden. Give me 1 second. Mate, I mean, honestly, in Toronto, I don't know if Scott's got it over there where he is. He's miles away from me. But it'll be beautifully sunny, and then it rains so hard for 15 minutes you can't see across the road. Then the sun comes back out again. Well, I've got one of those. I've got one of those going on right this second. So yeah, these young deals always get done quickly, and I think personally it gets done quickly is one thing, but also I don't think the mainstream media and Sky Sports News and whatever are looking at the younger ones because they're too busy looking all around the world for the big story. But no, you are right. These deals always get done quicker. And I would imagine they're easier to do anyway because of the standard the player is at or the age range the player's at. But you are right.
The money.
Okay, there's the thunder.
Or the money.
Yeah. Or there's that. I was just about to go to that. Or it could be that when it comes to the negotiations, we hear roadblock. In the roadblock's name is Daniel Philip Levy. Or it could be the other club as well. Because listen, other clubs know what's about to happen. I think when people know that Tottenham Hotspur are in for a player, the chairman, the owners probably go, right, let's go in a dark room. Let's have some relaxation. Let's go to the spa because we're about to enter some ridiculous negotiations. Next one from Rinketic. Big up, Rinketic. Is there any reason why Eze should not pick Man City over us when Kevin De Bruyne goes? Now, first of all, Rinketic, I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but Pep actually came out and said that Kevin De Bruyne is not going to Saudi Arabia, but that could be smoke and mirrors. Where are you with this, James?
I don't think Eze is that kind of player to go to Man City. And by that, I mean, Grealish went there. He played a vital part in their season like a couple of seasons ago, but he hasn't really been the same since. I think someone like Olmo is more of a Pep player.
Yeah, I mean, I will say to you, you know how we have the domino rally, domino effect, like when one transfer kind of sparks it off. We were talking about it yesterday, and someone in the chat said it, and I can't remember who actually said it, but I can see De Bruyne, should he go? Obviously, we've just said Pep said it, but the domino effect that I saw happening was De Bruyne goes, Man City go out straight away, Eze, here you go, bang. And the way they supplement that is they, like we said, selling players whilst they still hold value. They'll sell Jack Grealish, and knowing our luck, it will be us a little bit too late. And then what we would have done is finance the Eze deal for Manchester City. So I can see if there was, and there may be another player Man City get rid of, not just Grealish, or instead of Grealish, but could you see? I mean, I can so clearly see that happening. We'll get Grealish. They'll say Spurs have finally got their man, and everyone will be happy. I think Jack Grealish, I think he's a tremendous player. But if we sign him, if this is all coulda, woulda, shoulda, if that was to happen, it's too late. But I think Rinketic, from what we've heard and what we've seen, his main thing is staying in London. That is his number one thing. And he seems to be a guy that, whether he stays in London, he's going to be a rich man. I think being in London and staying over his family, staying close to his family is more important to him than obviously Champions League football, which hopefully he'll be able to get back at Tottenham. Another one from Wick Talk Football. Question for James, you and I will answer this both. What budget have we got to spend, and where's the marquee signing?
I think we've probably got about 100 million to spend, and that's over all of them. It's not one player, two player. That is pretty much all of them. I reckon that is the total budget plus player sales.
So you reckon 100? And do you know what? When it comes to where's the marquee signing, I think we should bring out a Tottenham Hotspur version of Where's Wally, or Where's Waldo, where we call it over here, and just put some Tottenham Hotspur. I shouldn't be saying this. I could actually do that. So yeah, the budget, I never know. It's such a hard question. I think it might be a little bit. I think we might have a little bit more than what you said, plus player sales. I would say probably tops 150, but we've had 150 before, and we only spent 100 of it.
So that's like saying like 40 million for Archie. So you think we're going to spend 200 million in this window?
No, that's a good point. Let's take the Archie out. I'm coming back to. Thank you, James. I'm back to your level, and where's the marquee signing? Hopefully imminent. Hopefully, and I would be over them if it's Eze or Gyökeres. I am going to be absolutely ecstatic. I think Eze is the one that's going to.
DH gate for you, mate.
Mate, no. If I get a shirt, and if I won't go DH gate, I'll go through my friend Rachel. You've met Rachel. I'll go through Rachel, and it'll be Van der Ven. It'll be. I'm obsessed with me and a left centre back. We got deep connections. Eze is. I will be over the goddamn moon. Next question. We have Rich S. Man, big up to you. Will we keep Richie plus bring in a striker, in your opinion? Or is the new striker dependent on Richie leaving? That's a great question. Go on, Jay.
So I think it's two questions, really. If we keep Richie, do we bring in a striker? Yes. Or is a striker depending on Richie leaving? Yes, again. So I think that we're going to get a striker regardless. But I think, is he dependent on getting a proper goal scorer, decent forward? Again, you need Richie to leave to do that.
I have to say, Lungi, that I think you're absolutely right. It might be his tears from opening up his wallet. We never know. Let's go back to it. I think a striker's coming in regardless. I think the difference is if Richie's staying, he'll be Richie, I think, at the club. If Richie stays, I think Spurs have it that Richie is the number one striker.
Yeah.
And it'll be kind of Jonathan David as a backup.
Yeah.
I can't see us getting Ivan Toney if Richarlison stays. If we did, Ivan Toney immediately goes above him, and then I think Richarlison's like, right, I'm off anyway. So exactly. So I think one is definitely coming in, but I've been saying the whole time, Richie, that I think Richarlison is gone. I've been saying this since about February, and I'm going to stand by it and be a man of my word and stick to my beliefs. And I reckon there will be two strikers at Spurs. And that's we'll have to wait and see. And I've got a feeling it's to be Tony and Jonathan David. Next one. Wait a minute, we've just done that one from Ricketic. Let's go to the next one from Sean Slater. Would people accept Richie going to Saudi for a big fee and then Tony coming in for less? That's a good question, James.
100%. I'm not an accountant. I'm a football fan.
Yeah, you look at it. Ivan Toney, if he didn't have the last year of his contract, he would have been worth a lot more.
70, 80 million, yeah.
Yeah, I think whether people like Ivan Toney's character off the pitch, there's no doubt he scores goals in the Premier League. There's no doubt, and I've said a few times that in the All or Nothing documentary, when Jose Mourinho said we need to be horrible, and I'm not going to say the word, that we needed to bring some of them in. Ivan Toney is one of those. He's got a nasty streak. And there's no doubt he'll score goals. So if he came in, he's certainly an upgrade on Richie. So I would be happy. David Marshall, big up, matey. Would you give Phillips more game time and involve him in the first team this season? James, over to you, buddy.
Well, no, he wouldn't get more game time because Van der Ven and Romero are better unless one of them gets injured. So you can't give him more game time. You're stupid if you're going to drop Van der Ven or Romero for him. If there's an injury, then obviously he's still probably fourth choice. So I'd like to see him get more game time, but realistically, we've got 3 centre-backs in 2 positions to fill.
So when we're talking about left centre-backs, well, I haven't seen you for ages, buddy. I hope you are all good and well, as the family are as well. I don't know who this guy is. So I have got no idea. And I know we need to start signing some homegrown or some English talent. So could we do that? But we've just got Højbjerg off the books. We could be getting Emerson off the books. So the places for non-European players, and it opens up. So maybe he is one. The question we're on, I would always mention it when we talk Ashley Phillips, but the day we signed him, I put a tweet out saying the year is 2029, Spurs are being led out and Ashley Phillips is the captain. I honestly, like I said before, I've got a Blackburn Rovers fan here who's one of those that did used to watch all the youth games and everything, and said this guy is a monster. He is going to be something. And even when you saw him on the pre-season games, he is a unit and a half. I think he needs, obviously he did very, very well at Plymouth, very well. I think, and I've said it before, Ange Postecoglou on this tour is going to look at players like him and like Divine, who people would think are a shoo-in for a loan. Now, Alfie Divine's first 2 appearances have been very impressive. I've been delighted. And I think if they continue to do that on tour, they may have a question. They may be like, right, what do we do? Do we give him a 6-month loan? Do we keep him? Ashley Phillips, I think, would benefit from going out on loan to a high championship team, or maybe even one of the promoted Premier League teams, maybe to see what he can do. But I think he needs another season of proper first team football. But no doubt that this guy in a few years is in the Spurs first team on complete merit, in my opinion. Billy, big up, buddy. Would you sell Romero if it meant Spurs had no excuse in buying a forward and fixing other positions?
No. What? Why? This is a loaded question to Spurs fans. Why would you accept selling your best player again? Didn't we learn from Harry Kane?
So do you know what I will say? When I don't know if it was Philly that asked this question a few weeks ago or a few months ago, I was asked that question, and I said, "Oof, we're with Van der Ven and Dragushin, so there is a cover there already. There isn't a right." At one point, I was like, "Do you know what? If you told me that would be sell Romero and I get Gyökeres and Eze 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago when I was first asked that, I couldn't decide what to answer. It was a real hard one for me. Now, not a chance. Not a chance. Romero, who showed, and I watched pretty much everything of Argentina in the Copa. Yes, the standard of opponents aren't what you face. This guy, especially under Van der Ven, who I think was Player of the Year for us, and I'm very, very biased with that. Romero is the perfect partner for him. Them two, if we can get a midfield sorted that can do like a Wanyama Dembele, not saying we need two, but if we that can protect them, these two could be one of the partnerships of the Premier League era. If they get a long time to play together, I wouldn't let Romero go for love nor money.
I know Van der Ven got a lot of the praises last season, and so he should. But he was definitely like the last ditch, or his pace that blew everybody away. When you actually watch the sort of control and the talking, the passing, the tackling, the last minute blocks, all of that was Romero. For me, Romero was better than Van der Ven last season. I just think Van der Ven had a lot more star moments, if that makes sense. So by that, I mean, I would say Luka Modric is better than James Maddison, but there's going to be a lot more highlights of James Maddison in that midfield, if that makes sense.
I'll tell you what, Rob78 at 7:07 has put a question. That's going to be the last question we answer. But my God, we're going to end with a good one. Don't look at it, James. This is a good question. You said this is going to be a good one. I can't wait to get there. I cannot wait. I actually put that question as a poll. I'd be very interested. Don't put your answers to the question, people, until I bring the question up, because I'm going to go down and see what people say. But right, next one from Matty. Theoretically, would you be happy with David and Tony coming in and no one else? And the Korean guy. Okay, so if it was just Tony and David that came into this team now, and then that's it, done for the window, are you going to be happy?
So I would like David and Tony to come in now and send Timo Werner back from his loan, and then I'll be happy.
Do you know what, Matty? I still wouldn't be. I still think if I look at it, we need Tony can do a job on the David can do a job on the wing, and like Scott M said, he can play anywhere across the middle, which is fantastic, across the front line. And as I said, I do have great faith that if he comes to Premier League, people will see that we've picked up a bargain. But I would want one that when I say we've just seen apparently the big money signings, the money is there. It will be. I think it'll still be short. I want to see 4 more come in. I want 4 more.
I put out a tweet about the money and the income and the outgoing. And as it stands right now, with the players gone before Royale and stuff like that, we've spent about 6 million. And that's not including Tanganga. So if Tanganga cost them 6 million, we're on a zero put, like we've spent nothing. So if we've spent nothing and we bring in Tony for 45 million and Davis for 25 million, are you happy with a 70 million pound spend transfer? it's not all about the money. I agree. I don't care about the money. I just want the players in that can fit the system and their manager. But that's a bit of a piss take.
There we go. Right, Greg, a good friend of mine down there in Miami, Florida. Any reason? So, oh mate, listen, he came over. This is dedication. Obviously, you know the American leagues for things here. Like we talk about an away trip to Newcastle being far. Imagine what an away trip in the basketball block. Greg is a diehard Florida. I can't remember what the name of their team, but they won the Stanley Cup. But he came over here to watch them play in Montreal, and he came and watched the game at the Scotland Yards. So this man follows Florida Panthers. Won it, and mate, the dedication. We had a game that we watched a game together. So any reason why any seasoned skilled player would choose Spurs if they had already won everything somewhere else? Besides that, leave you out. James.
So is there any reason they wouldn't choose Tottenham?
Is there a reason why a C wouldn't choose Tottenham?
Well, yeah, we don't win anything. There's no glory. Why would you sign for somewhere there's no glory? All the good players come through and leave. Harry Kane was probably the first one not to do that. So why would you join Tottenham? It depends who else is involved, isn't it? If someone like AC Milan comes in versus Tottenham, you'd probably go AC Milan. There's a chance that you'll win a trophy, you'll win the league, you'll be in the Champions League. With Tottenham, it's quite hard. Don't get me wrong, the facilities, the hotel, all of that is amazing, but for what?
There you go. I mean, what I would say, that the only thing that I would say about it is just, you look at it. I sometimes think there's some players that want to be that player and say, do you know what, I got this team over the line. I am the one that did it. You know what I mean? Like you look at it with managers. Steven Gerrard went to Rangers, I'm just using this, and will be held as a god in Rangers for stopping Celtic gets 10 titles. Whoever wins the next trophy for Tottenham will go down, and they'll be literally, thank God for ending. So that's the only reason I think they would come. I
think they'd also look at it and go, say, for example, it's a manager, Jose Mourinho, Conte, so on and so on. If it's a player, Heung-min Son, Luka Modric, Gareth Bale, Harry Kane, none of them. So unless you're talking Mbappe's coming in and saying, look, I can win something with you, I don't think you can have that mentality or that attitude.
There you go. So next one, this will be a very, very quick answer from me, but I'll let you go first. Barog, do you think Amrabat could be an option for Tottenham's midfield?
I think he could be. He's better than what we've got.
Okay, I thought you were going to say something different. I am going to say definitely something different. Not a chance for me. Not a chance. Listen, Man U were a state. He came to Man U, and I didn't see anything that makes me think.
Yeah, but in fairness, Man U were all over the place.
I actually think, and I'm not just saying this, I think, and I will get some posters for this, I'm not kidding when I say I'm so happy and confident with Archie Gray. I'm not saying this season he's going to outdo Amrabat. I think this guy's got the potential to be a complete total utter diamond, and I do not want another player coming in. I think for me right now, if Leicester was tomorrow, I start Gray over Basuma.
Okay.
So I don't want Amrabat, but I do. I'm going to bloody contradict myself now. But what I do want is I want a very, very, very high quality midfielder to come in to boss that midfield, to literally, and I don't see Amrabat being it.
I think Amrabat could be it though if he was given a fair crack of the whip. I don't think he was given a fair opportunity at United, and I think he is a defensive midfielder, a number 6. So he wants to break up the play. That's where he gets his enjoyment from, and I don't think we have someone like that. So I think someone like Archie Gray would flourish with someone like that next to him. Whether he's good enough or not, I don't know, but he's definitely better as a number 6 than we've got.
What I will say, and Colin Crottamano's mentioned this name a couple of times, and Danny Kiriaka was mentioning it ages ago. I think Mbeumo will be incredible at Tottenham Hotspur. Absolutely incredible. I would take him all day long. James, you?
Massive injury, though, isn't he? He's had a massive injury.
That's the problem. Right, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions to go. Paul Clark, waiting on Tony Price to drop, then could get him means he joins after the third game of the season and isn't settled to the 8th game. 20% of the season gone, more costly. Paul, I personally think, I'll go quickly on this one, James, and I'll let you go. I think the price drop, the way I'm thinking about it and seeing the way it's going, I think Tony could be a Spurs player before Leicester. I think it could be like a Van der Ven, like, you know, when he got announced at the Ukraine game when Shakhtar. Yeah. I think the way I see it going with Ivan Toney is we'll have a striker before the opening game of the season, in my opinion. And I think it will be Toney, and I think the price will keep dropping, and I think it will be done before the first game of the season. James?
I know this is going to sort of be controversial, but I would swap Ivan Toney for Kulusevski. I would make them a bid. I'd say, do you fancy a straight swap? If Kulu would go there...
Which I don't think he would in a million years.
No, but if he would, I would kind of say, here you go. But again, Ivan Toney isn't what I would say is... maybe he is. I think he needs time to learn the Ange system. I don't think it's fair to get him in and throw him in 3 days before a Premier League game. I think he would adapt quite well, and I think he's a good striker. But again, I tweeted about giving Ange a fair crack at the whip and getting players in before pre-season. I wanted these guys in now, especially for the first team players. The striker is massive for Ange's system. He needs to be in. If the midfielder is Archie Gray, and that's the one we've decided to go with, fine, that's in. That's all well and good. But we just need now another forward and a striker. They need to be in now, learning the positions.
There we go. This one, I like this question a lot, actually, because I blow hot and cold on this player. But would Rashford be a good buy for us right now, James?
If you take his attitude away, I think it's a fantastic buy. I think pacing behind, low balls across the box, good finisher, quick. Well, he's definitely better than Timo Werner.
That's what I was about to say. Look at it. If this is a guy that will play on the left, and one thing you can guarantee over Timo Werner is this guy knows where the back of the net is.
I think he's only 25 or 26 as well.
I think he's 26. Rashford, obviously, we saw his little sprinting during the press and whatever, and something obviously was not right at Manchester United last season for him. Forget the rest of the crap that was going on at Old Trafford and at Carrington and all that. There was definitely something. He got into trouble with Ten Hag going away and everything. Yeah. But the season before, he was Mr. Manchester United. He was exceptional. And if you can get Marcus Rashford happy and playing football, he can be a great player, and he is one that his price has plummeted. Do you know what? I'm actually, Alex. Now that you say this, I'm gonna take a real punt. Real punt. You know, earlier when we spoke about the 3 players who they could be, I'm gonna put a punt. My big punt is Marcus Rashford, and I'm not just saying it because of this question. It's just triggering things. His price has plummeted. There's obviously some. I put it this way: I would 100% have him over Timo Werner. He could also play up front. Should Richarlison go, there's your striker as well, mate. Do you know what? I think I'm going to change that. Neto, Tony, David are going to be the 3. There's the 3.
The thing is,
Neto, Rashford, David.
If we got Tony, Eze, and Rashford, you're now a serious club, in my opinion, because you've got Rashford and.
Yeah, that's a big problem. That's the big problem.
Yeah,
that's now you say it. I'm still sticking to it. I'll put my neck out.
If you sign, like we said, Rashford, Tony, and Eze, I now look at that team and think, like, wow. And you add Son into that, potentially Richarlison. You're now like, okay, you've gone from nowhere near the top to, I think you're a top 4 team at least.
Yeah, do you know what? There's people saying here that his wages, or we can't, that his wage will be too high, and that's right. But Scott M again is bang on here. We have cleared so much money off the wage bill. I'm not saying smash it and paying like 400s, but the wages now shouldn't be an issue. Shouldn't be. Obviously, if someone comes in and says I want $500,000 a week, then yes, it is. But what? So that one. Okay. So the next one, for me. So I personally, I wouldn't do this because he's Chelsea. B, if this man comes to Tottenham,
I think you would play well for us.
that's what I was waiting for. If this guy comes to Tottenham, the memes that are going to be made from me. If people know Cody Mack, and now a lot of people say it, and honestly, if you see it, you'll never see it. Go have a look at Mark Cucurella. Cover his hair, and I swear to God, it's me. It's so uncanny that if I ever bump into Mark Cucurella, I am asking for a DNA test because I'm sure somewhere down the line, paths have crossed. I would not take him. I don't like him as a player. He did very well at Brighton, not in a million years. A lot of it mainly because of the memes that would be made for me. James, are you taking him?
No.
There we go.
I like what Romero did.
There you go. So just a quick, Rashford is on 375 grand a week. So I think we can finally say my long shot's taking my neck out. Unless Man U take him, we'll cover XYZ for a bit.
So not just that was Harry Kane's goal bonus.
There you go. And yeah, if he did come, Romero would be pulling his hair all day. The fights that would break out. But my God, I really hope Cucurella doesn't come. Right. One final question before the question. And this is a good one. Dry Roasted Peanut, how many goals and assists would Brennan Johnson need next season to represent a decent return? 15 goal contributions last season. Now, James, I'll go second because I will speak about him and my feelings, but you first.
Yeah, I've always stood up for him. I think he does a lot of good. Me and David have said a few times in the chat how good we think he can be. I think he needs to. I think I'd accept the 15 GAs again, as long as he kind of got on top of those misses and stuff that he's been doing. Like he missed a couple of open goals and blocked a few chances. If he could get those out of his system and play how he did, I think he would be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said, and I stuck by Brennan this season. Don't get me wrong, when he's had a bad game, I called it a bad game. But I seriously think there's a player in there. I seriously do. And I always say give a player a pre-season with the manager, which obviously he didn't get. Then you also look at it, and I was on Sav's 24-hour stream last Saturday, and they had a Nottingham Forest fan in, and they said the Nottingham Forest fan said something I hadn't even looked at it that way. That said his attributes of Nottingham Forest was the counter-attack. So when he got the ball, he had half the pitch to run into and use his explosive pace to get away from people. Well, at Tottenham, we play further up the pitch, so he hasn't got that much space to use his. He's still got space to use his explosive pace. I've said already. I said last year, even though I didn't like Porro being a right back, I now love him being a right back. I think he's the most improved player at Spurs last season. I'm going to stick my neck out and say the same for Brennan Johnson. I think he gets more than 15 goal contributions. I really do. If he doesn't, I'll be on here to say, listen, I tried to back him, whatever, but I think it's a big season. And he's already scored 4 goals in pre-season. Yes, it's Cambridge and Hearts. He's got one thing he's got to work into. His crosses that he drills in on ground level are fine. When he goes to do the lofted crosses, he needs a lot of work. And the final question, and this is a question and a half, and it's a question I love. James, on their day, Kane and Son or Sheringham and Klinsmann?
So, by picking one of these, I don't want to undermine the other one either. So it's not because I know a lot of people, when you pick something, they think that you're saying the other one's shit. Well, that's not what I'm saying. But I think Harry Kane alone on his day was one of the best strikers I've ever seen. So for me, it would have to be Kane and Son.
Okay, so I'm going to put the cats amongst the pigeons now. And I have said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I think if Sheringham and Klinsmann had the same amount of time together as Kane and Son did, so they're the same ages, whatever, and they played for Tottenham the same amount of time, that record that Kane and Son have set for the most deadliest duo, I think Sheringham and Klinsmann have that miles ahead of where the record was.
Yeah.
Kane and Son may have got there, but for me, Harry Kane, incredible, like the best. Again, Jurgen Klinsmann, I saw pretty much every single game. This man was the most devastating striker. He was as lethal as they come. So I put it this way: we all can say now, because Kane and Son had longer, it's clearly them. But I think if Sheringham and Klinsmann had had the same amount of time, this is a completely different conversation. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up there because James has got some stuff to do. I've got some stuff to do. Over 200 of you in here for most of the show, and we really appreciate it. James, where can people... First of all, thank you for joining again. Really, really appreciate you coming on. You're a great friend of mine and love spending time with you. Where can people find you?
To be fair, I'm always in Spurs chats. I'm always watching along, giving my input, and here whenever you want me. Always.
Well, we wanted you last week, but you had a job, and then I said we can't do it early, and then I went early because we had Ben Daniel. So, but James will be on the channel regularly throughout the season. We look forward to it. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed another evening brews. Just to let you know, tomorrow's morning brews is going to be a pre-recorded one that we're recording tonight because Dave is the roadman is going to the cinema at midnight to watch a late night thing that's going on for a few hours. So we're going to have it pre-recorded. That will be out. And Evening Brews will be back tomorrow as well, guys. So once again, thank you for your constant support. Have a great evening or rest of your day. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, Levy out.